I am excited to find out what our spin today is going to be. And we are going to start right here at 1 and see what we get. Let's do it. Ooh. Okay. Talking about contractions. So number 2, we didn't go far. Talking about contractions. So, contractions are the main work of labor. So, when people talk about labor pains, when they talk about going into labor, it all revolves around contractions. What contractions are is your uterus. Your uterus is a muscle, just like any muscle. Well, it's not just like any muscle in your body, but it is a muscle, and it is contracting. So, like if you contracted your bicep, you could feel a change in that muscle. So what contractions are doing is opening up the bottom of the uterus, which is the cervix, thinning it and opening it, which is dilating and effacement, and basically just opening up this muscle so that the baby can come out, making a path for the baby. And the good news is that the uterus is designed in a way that keeps the baby super safe. So usually it takes quite a bit of work to make that happen. And quite a bit of work means quite a bit of contractions. Now, there are a couple of different types of contractions that you'll hear about. There's labor contractions, so the ones that actually make a difference in your cervix. And then there are early labor or pre-labor contractions called Braxton Hicks contractions. Sometimes people call them practice contractions. So a question that I know I hear a lot in childbirth classes, what is the difference between Braxton Hicks contractions and regular labor contractions? So the main difference is that the Braxton Hicks contractions aren't making any change to your cervix. So they're not the kind of contractions that are going to be opening up your cervix and thinning it. They are more just a tightening of the uterine muscle. And the way that if you're experiencing them and you're wondering if they are, which type of contractions, are they real? Are they false? Are they Braxton Hicks? Braxton Hicks contractions, generally when people say they're feeling the contraction, they kind of are pointing to the top of their belly, the top of their uterus, which is called the fundus, the top, and they generally feel the Braxton Hicks all over. And it's a bit of a tightening sensation. A lot of times people will make this face like, gosh, it's really tight, or maybe they'll just feel their uterus and say, or feel their belly and say, gosh, it's tight right now. I'm not sure why, but there's no painful sensation. Sometimes people have described a Braxton Hicks contraction as it feels like the baby is like balling up, or the baby is doing a big turn. Sometimes I've heard that it's described that way, the Braxton Hicks. But the Braxton Hicks contractions generally come not close to, they can start in your third trimester. It really varies for people how often they're feeling Braxton Hicks, or if they do. But that is really almost like your uterus is practicing for the big day, for the big labor contractions. So if you do find that you're experiencing a lot of those Braxton Hicks contractions, definitely make sure that you stay hydrated. Sometimes dehydration can cause contractions before your body is ready to go into labor. So if you're feeling a lot of Braxton Hicks, if it's the end of the day and you're noticing a lot of tightening in your uterus, go ahead and have double up on your water, drink more water, and see if that helps. If you're ever concerned, of course, call your care provider. That's what they're there for, 24 hours a day. Give them a call. But contractions, when they are not Braxton Hicks, when they are actual labor contractions, they are going to feel usually more underneath your belly button, so a lower crampiness, a lower contraction feeling. Sometimes people experience them in their back, or start in their back and kind of radiate to the front, but it's less of an all over your stomach feeling. Also, real true contractions that make a change in your cervix are ones that are going to end up being steady. They're going to be regular, so they will end up being in a pattern. And a lot of times they don't start out that way, that you might feel a contraction and have a long time before the next one and then a short time, but they will end up becoming on a regular pace. They will end up usually having somewhat of a regular length. And most people, when they feel a true contraction that is making change in your cervix, you're going to feel it start off low, it's going to have a peak, and it's going to go down. And it might be that the contraction peaks up fast and then has a long tail, or it might kind of have a long beginning and then a late peak. But at some point, that muscle contracting feeling is going to start off a little bit, low, soft, not a lot of sensation, and then really tighten up and then start to relax again. So just like a muscle, if you can imagine just that slow feeling of, if you slowed that down, that's what's happening in your uterus. And those contractions are what we need. That's the labor, that's the work that our body needs in order to open up that uterus so that we can birth our babies. So contractions, a few different types: Braxton Hicks and true labor contractions. Contractions are the muscle doing the work, the uterus doing the work to open up that cervix and allow the birth of our baby. So they are very important for labor and birth. And when they develop a pattern and they develop regularity and they develop that peak, then we definitely know that those are true labor contractions. So there's other videos that you might want to look at if you need more information or want to follow up on this. We have covered effacement is a great one to look at, which is to talk about the thinning of the uterus. We also have a good one on timing contractions, and timing them can be tricky, and there's lots of good information about how to use the app the best. And I also have a blog on the best way to use the contraction timers and picking a contraction timer app that I'll put below, so you can see the links below. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give it a like. Other people can find it easier that way. And if you subscribe to the channel, you'll find out when new videos are loaded. So thanks so much for joining me today, and I look forward to the next spin of the wheel. Talk to you guys later. Bye.